mention flash freezing in my videos often, and we get a question asking what it is. So I just wanted to make sure I had one spot, one video that I could guide people to answer all of your questions. I'm going to be sharing many flash freezing tips in this video. So even if you've been doing it for a long time, I hope you learned something new in the video. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is The Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. Our grocery budget is $135 per person, and for the last 2 years, it's only been my husband and I living here at the house, so our grocery budget is $270 per month. I love that the tips that I'm going to teach today will help not only small families, but large ones. I love that the skills that I learned to make sure that I had all the fruits and veggies I need for my household when it was full with our kids home still work for us being a smaller two-person household now. If you're just meeting me, you might not know that I went viral for teaching tips on keeping strawberries fresh. This happened during the pandemic while I was teaching families how to be able to keep their berries fresh for weeks. This landed me in the media all over the world, and I even had a TED Talk because of it. And now, almost 5 years later, I'm still here on YouTube teaching produce tips. For most of the produce items I'm going to be talking about, I have individual videos for them teaching how to wash and store them so you can keep them fresh in your fridge for many weeks. But this video, we are specifically talking about flash freezing the berries or other produce items so you can use them later. I grew up on a farm and grew up knowing about harvest seasons and when's the best time to get produce items. So I always look forward to spring season when all the berries are in season, and we would either go out on the farm and pick them, or we would go to the farmer's market and get large bushels of berries. But what I didn't know until many years after being on my own is when I was freezing the berries and putting them away in bags so I could make jam and do things throughout the years, then they would all get stuck together and I would have to use a cooking method or use them all at one time. So I got really good about washing my berries, making sure they were dry, and then putting them into vacuum sealed bags so they would stay fresh for over a year. And as I was doing that, I would also make sure that I was measuring out the items to put in the bags and writing on the bag like 2 cups of strawberries. That way, when I went to make jam or whatever I was doing with the strawberries, I'd be able to know exactly what the measurements were. I prefer to get my own fresh berries and bring them home and wash them because the washing methods that I teach kills off the mold spores, E. coli, listeria, and any other harmful pathogens. A couple times every single year, there's large recalls of berries that happen with frozen berries because even in the freezer, if they're not properly washed, they can still have listeria. So I learned over the years that if I flash freeze the items, normally on a large tray or a plate, depending on how much room I have in the freezer, and then I put a piece of parchment paper or wax paper down, I can then lay out the produce items and put them in the freezer for a few hours. After that few hours, then I can put them into a freezer safe container, and then we can pull out just 1 or 2 or a handful at a time. So items like raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, I just freeze those whole because we are going to use them whole. Strawberries, on the other hand, I will normally take the tops off and then slice them so they are smaller pieces, and then I can use them multiple different ways, like making frozen yogurt bark. And I think we're all guilty of throwing a banana in the freezer when it starts to get a little dark and hoping that we're going to make muffins someday. I have learned if I flash freeze those in slices on a tray and then put them into a bag, I'm much more likely to use a little bit of those, putting them into smoothies or handing them to a toddler. I like to also be able to plan ahead and get things that are on sale. So as you go through the spring and the summertime, the first things that you're going to see on sale are mangoes and pineapple, which both freeze beautifully. I love even pitting cherries and then freezing them, and then I make a cherry barbecue sauce. And as we get into summer, I love to be able to freeze peaches and be able to pull off just a few out of a bag or a container and not have a big clump of peaches I need to deal with. Freezing them individually like this also is much easier on your blender if you're making smoothies. During the summertime, we keep the top portion of our freezer ready for smoothies. So I am collecting all the fresh fruits to be able to mix and match and make smoothies however we choose to. Spinach is one of those items that doesn't need to be flash frozen. It can go directly into the freezer, and I love being able to have that on hand also to add to our smoothies. Something else that I like to do is freeze peppers. I try to get these when I can get them at the lowest price of the year at the farmer's market, and I will get a big box full. For the peppers, I will also wash these like I will the other produce items, and after they are dried, then I will either slice them into slices or dice them into square little pieces. I like to have the option of both sizes, and that way I can add them to different recipes and they'll be the size that I want. I will flash freeze these for a couple hours or overnight, and then I will divide these into bags. And I really like to be able to mix the different colors as I'm putting them into bags, and I normally do 1 to 2 cups per bag, so I know I can just add those easily into a recipe. And then some things that you might not think about. When I go to make things like allergy-friendly chicken strips or meatballs, I'm normally making large quantities of these, and then I'm also flash freezing those and putting them away in bags in the freezer, and that way we can pull out whatever we need for dinner. We have those allergy-friendly recipes on our blog also. We will link those in the description. So flash freezing really helps you get the items that you want in your freezer. It doesn't take very much room. By doing this method, your future self will thank you. If you want more tips on how to keep your produce fresh, this is our zero waste produce guide that goes A to Z through 75 produce items. There's even a section in here on what to freeze and what not to freeze. The book is linked in the description, and there is a discount code. And if you're new here, welcome. I spend time every single day making sure that I answer all of your questions.